Workshop Wednesday. Happy post-Thanksgiving, Carrie. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. It was real good. How was yours?
Oh,
Seems
it
like
was
a while ago,
awesome.
a whole week ago.
I know, and that's why we weren't here last week. So that's why it seems like a long time ago between um, getting signed. Seeing us on the workshop Wednesday, and I'm trying to get a hold of Travis, who is supposed to be getting in. Hold on a second here. He just sent me an email. He was having a problem getting in. So let me just send him the link directly, and then we'll see if he can join us, because we're trying to do our last final sales tax fundamentals, and this is all about the weird stuff that happens with sales tax. I was hoping Travis would join us, because I wanted to get a definitive maybe on the topic that happens with accountants, right? Like a lot of accountants and bookkeepers, when it comes to like the wholesale billing with QuickBooks Online, or some of their apps that they pay for, but then kind of bill it back to their client, or bundle in with their service.
That's taxable.
Is that a taxable event, right? Oh, here comes Travis. There we
go. Yeah. So.
Hi, Travis. We were just talking about you. Were your ears burning?
Yeah. Sorry, technical difficulties.
No worries. That's the plus and the minus of doing a live event. When there is technical difficulties, they happen live on camera, right?
Yep.
But we're just kind of introducing our topic, and we want to make sure that everyone has the ability to enter into today's the last day for the drawing, right? So if you share this and let us know in the chat where you shared it to, because it's basically the world against Susan Humphreys. But there are a couple other people entered into the drawing. So if you share it and let us know where you shared it to, we're going to enter you in the drawing, and we're going to spin it. We're going to spin a wheel of fun, so we get so we figure out who wins, and it's probably going to go to Susan, because she's kind of stuffed the ballot box for us, which we appreciate that. But if anybody else is watching and want, not yet, Susan. She's like, did I win? We're gonna spin it at the end of the workshop. Give people some ample opportunity to get in there too. And Susan, if you share it again, you get another entry into the drawing. But we were going to wrap up our sales tax fundamentals with a little bit of a fun twist on sales tax, which is kind of some of the weird sales tax laws that are actually out there. We'll kind of go through a few of those, but one of the things that I wanted to talk to you, Travis, about, and I don't know if you can actually say, confirm or deny, but there is a common question when it comes to accountants who are doing like a wholesale billing model with some QuickBooks software. We'll take that as an example.
Bundling their fees with that.
If they're paying for the software that they use for their clients, and then charging it back to their customer, or a common question is, well, I'll just roll in my monthly service as part of that, but not necessarily itemize out the software that I'm paying on their behalf. Is that a taxable event? Is it not a taxable event? Or is it, I think your favorite answer is, well, it depends, right?
Yeah. And that usually is the answer, Dan. I mean, if we're talking like, rules that are different from state to state. But I mean, in that example, I think it's more of like the who's on the hook for paying the sales tax, right? Because like if they are basically, okay, they buy a license and then they're client is using it, in that case, it's like, hey, they probably already paid the sales tax, and then they're just, essentially billing them for it, right? Versus a resell scenario where, hey, are we reselling, and then the end user pays the tax, right?
In this case, it's if they're doing it through the wholesale model, they are not paying a sales tax. So somebody needs to pay some sort of a sales tax somewhere, I believe.
Okay, yeah. So in that scenario, yeah, if they purchased it wholesale, meaning they're essentially reselling it, which they should be able to provide a resell certificate, right? Because then you're essentially selling it to the end user and collecting tax from them based on wherever that end user is located, right? So if they have,
so I guess we
talked about before,
yeah. So I guess the key there is somebody getting sales tax, right? So if the accountant is paying for these subscriptions and being charged sales tax, then that might not that might exclude them from having to charge sales tax to their clients or have to remit and file sales tax. Would you say that's kind of the smoking gun of of this whole equation? Because I know I mean, I was looking into that for somebody had said, well, I'll just bundle it in with my services, and therefore I don't have to. But I think actually North Carolina does make some explicit rules about that sort of thing if you are paying for them. So I it always boils down to, well, it depends. Ask check with your state, your Department of Revenue, or Board of Equalization, or whatever your state calls the transaction tax.
Yep.
If it is a privilege, like in Arizona,
Yeah,
privilege to sell something.
Yeah.
So that's good to know. All right, so I wanted to go ahead and share my screen here, and Avalara came on the QuickBooks Power Hour, and we talked about some of these wacky sales tax laws. So I just wanted to this is kind of like a little game show. We don't have any game show music, Carrie, so we'll just have to pretend that the Price is Right themes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So can you guess? So New York taxes some powdered beverage mixes, but one is exempt. Carrie, what do you think of these? KoolAid Tang, Country Time, or Crystal Light?
One is exempt. They all look like powdered junk. Ugh.
Well, you got a 25% chance
I think
to get it right.
maybe it's the packaging. That's the only the middle two have the same packaging. I would guess the one on the right just looks like a different package.
The Crystal Light?
Yeah, just because of the package.
It's actually Tang.
Why? Is there like pretend? Is there really orange juice in it?
Well, I don't know why it is. Travis, do you know the answer? Why Tang is
So
is not...
So some of these I just have archived in my brain. All this is in these rules are all behind our tax codes in our software in Avatax. But Tang, I would think it's got something to do with it being a food, with it having natural, maybe natural flavoring in there.
Right. It's because of the moon. They made it. NASA created this, so there must be some ingredient in it that qualifies it as a food, as opposed to a drink. And the fact that it's also orange, Avalara would know all about that. So we talked about Oregon as being a nomad state, and Gary, do you remember what nomad? That means
nomad.
Not just.
Oh wait. The nomad, there's no sales tax, but isn't the letters NOMAD the states that also have no? Delaware.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the easy way to. That's the way to remember the states that don't have a state administered sales tax.
It's Alaska.
So you got New Hampshire, Oregon, Montana, Alaska, and Delaware.
Okay.
Yeah, you got one. You got Alaska. Good job. Yeah.
All right. So Oregon is one of those, is the O in nomad, right? So there's no sales tax. But one of the following products is taxable. So we've got a car, we've got a plane, we got a motorcycle, and a bicycle. What would you think, Carrie?
Which is something's taxable of those. Goodness.
Yeah, one of these three is one of these four is taxable in Oregon, which doesn't normally charge sales tax.
It's between the car and the plane. I'll go with plane. Plane.
It's a bicycle.
The bicycle. The last thing I would have guessed.
All right. It's Oregon charges taxes on bicycles. Now, when we talked about this on the Power Hour, I think the one that kind of made most sense is that all of the others involve gasoline, and there is gasoline tax. So maybe that's why they are charging tax on the bicycle, because there is no recuperation of gasoline tax.
Because they have a gas tax. Okay.
Yeah. Would you, Travis? What is that a good theory?
I think that's a good assumption. This is another one that's actually new to me, but I would think, the gas, they're collecting excise tax probably on gas. Mm-hmm. So even though they're not getting the sales tax, they're at least getting excise. So
And Susan says, "I call BS." She's all right. Next one. What mode of transportation, Carrie, is tax-free in Kansas? We have a cruise ship, we have an airline again, a balloon, and a taxi. What would you say?
I would go with balloon.
Why would you go with the balloon?
Because there's because I was gonna say it doesn't really have gas. It does have the fire thing. But it doesn't really it gets moved around because of the air. See?
Yeah.
I got one right.
You got one right. This is a good one. So not all candy bars are created equal. What ingredient turns a taxable sweet into a non-taxable food item? You got flour.
I know the answer to
chocolate.
I think I would say the nuts.
Nuts.
Either nuts or flour. But I think it's flour.
It is flour. You should have gone with your second.
That was her final answer. That was her final answer. She got it.
I said could be. Yeah. Okay. So
licorice is not considered a candy in New York.
Really?
Same is true for Kit Kats, Twix, Hershey's cookies and cream, but not the regular Hershey bar. It's the Hershey's cookies and cream, and then crispy M&Ms because they include flour.
They don't like crossover food.
Now, Travis, like for some of these weird circumstances, like how would Avalara or Avatax help someone with this? Like, would be, because how would you know, right? Like if it's got ingredients that make it a non-taxable food in New York.
Well, I mean, I think the answer to that is we have a team that's already done all that research, right? So, and we have all that research behind our taxes. So we're going to have a different tax code for candy bars that have flour versus, candy that doesn't have flour in it. So, because that, it's a common thing, that will change the taxability of it.
All right. So like as we showed on the last one of the last ones is that if you go to Avalara tax codes and then you put in candy, then it will bring up other things
there
like
there
that.
will be that hierarchy or multiple different tax codes for different types of candy. Yep. Exactly.
And that'll allow you to assign the tax code to the particular line items or items that do qualify for that or not, right?
That's right.
All right. I think that was the last one. I stopped sharing. Oh no, there is another one.
Oh, good.
There is another one. I got to make sure I share the right screen. There we go. Which state has 26 pages of tax rules for campgrounds? This is a question for me, right? So California, Wisconsin, Colorado, or Maine? All good camping states, right?
But who has a
What would
heavy
you think?
tax code? I would guess California.
Yeah, you would think that California would be the
Yeah.
heavy on anything tax related. Susan says California. It's actually Wisconsin.
It's probably the last one I would.
Mind-boggling. Isn't that no? Is it Minnesota, the land of 1,000 lakes, or is it Wisconsin? I'm not sure which.
No, it's Minnesota.
Is it Minnesota? Okay, we're in the wrong state. But it's got a mind-boggling number of charges associated with even the most rustic camping, from fees to electric hookups and self-service laundry machines and sewage disposal. So don't set up a sales tax nexus in Wisconsin if you're a campground. Is the takeaway.
No.
Oh, we got more. In
Okay.
Maryland, which ice cream brand is tax exempt? Haagen-Dazs, Tillamook, Ben & Jerry's, or Baby Bell?
Okay, well, first of all, I've never heard of this Tillamook, and
Tillamook.
So-
we drove past the creamery. I can't remember where. It's in Oregon. That's where it is.
so all of these look like the homemade ice cream thing. I mean, Haagen-Dazs, Ben & Jerry's, and Bluebell even says the word homemade. So I'm going with the one I don't know, which probably says
The
homemade,
Tillamook.
but it says old-fashioned vanilla.
It says old-fashioned. Yeah.
Vanilla.
It's actually Ben
Woo.
& Jerry's.
Why?
Because it's normally sold in
it's a
16-ounce
container.
containers, while Haagen-Dazs normally sold in 14 ounces taxable. So it's the
Well-
volume. Is that what it's getting at, Travis? Is the amount of ice cream?
Your
Yeah.
videos
Yeah,
are not
there's-
in scale, Dan. So there's no way I could have guessed that right. That looks like it's the same size as Bluebell, which is a 14 ounce, and Haagen-Dazs looks like it's 16 ounces. So
Yeah, there's a similar rule that I learned recently. I hadn't previously, but it was on donuts. So like it's like if you get it's either more than a half dozen or more than a dozen donuts, then it becomes exempt in some states, because at that point they're assuming that you're taking it to go and versus eating it there. So it's exempt versus being like a prepared food that you're eating there and taxable. I don't know. But the size of it, that definitely makes sense.
All right. How many sales tax rate updates were there in 2021? There's 6,014, 4,016, 60,140, or 41,600.
wow, in just 2021. Well, I know that like South Carolina just has like a under 5 in a year. So I'm going with 4,016.
Oops. Nope, that didn't work. It looks like
it's
6,040. 6,040. Yeah.
6,014, which is really what I was going to get.
Update.
I changed my mind
Yeah,
as
you
I
never
said
go
it
with
out
the
loud.
extremes. So you got
I know.
to talk about your test taking rule of
Well,
elimination.
this is why it took me a while to get through the CPA exam, because I hate taking tests. My logic was right. I just needed to go with 6014. So, and I actually was going to say that, but as I changed my mind on the fly.
Got to go with your gut with these things. All right. So the point of all that is that there's just a lot that it comes to with changes in sales tax, and as we had talked about, there's really no collecting, remitting, and filing your sales tax is not a business producing activity, right? I mean, that's just a compliance thing. So that's why it makes a lot of sense sometimes to, work with a company like Avalara that, that's their bread and butter, is making sure that is, it takes the pain out of doing all that, because who has time to keep up with 6,014 sales rate changes just for 1 year?
Yeah. And if you think of just the word Amazon, we're all shopping and going outside of our home state. We're not just running down locally, buying stuff and paying sales tax. I know I'm not. And there's all kinds of things that go around that.
Yeah, so I mean, it always makes sense to at least just have a conversation with the sales tax professional if it's not something that is in your alley. But I mean, it's definitely a core functionality when it comes to a business. Is one, do I need to charge sales tax? And if I do, then who do I sell it to? What do I sell? Where do I sell it? And do I sell Tang in New York, in New York, or do I have a candy that has flour in it that no longer makes it a non-taxable food item?
Yeah.
Some of those other weird things, like you have sales tax holidays sometimes with back to school and those types of things. So always kind of keeping up with that, making sure that you're collecting the right amount of tax and paying more importantly, because that's when the state will send you a letter, right, Carrie?
Yeah, they will.
Yep.
Reminds me I need to check on something.
they don't send you a letter when all your tax returns are on time and everything's accurate and you're doing great.
I want the gold star.
You only get the hate mail.
You did a good job. Yay!
All right, so let's go ahead and do our wheel of fun here. Let me go ahead and make this
Did you see
full
there's
screen.
another one in there? We have you see that one?
Yeah, I added Susan again.
Nope, there's another one, Nicole Vargas.
Oh, is there?
Yes.
Oh, wait a minute.
See?
Oh. See,
yeah.
Okay,
we have to make sure we have some.
Let me add that in there. Hold on a second. Thank you, Nicole, for sharing. All right. Got it in there. All right, so let me share this again. Here's our prize wheel. All right. I'm going to spin it. If I click it. There we go.
My dog.
Oddly enough, it's Susan. Congratulations, Susan. You'll get there. Did you hear the music or no?
One of these coveted shirts.
Did you hear the music when it was spinning?
There was no music.
No? Oh, okay. Oh, see, I had music in my ears, so maybe it's something on how I shared it. But anywho, so that was half the fun that we were missing was the corny music as it was spinning, and it said "hooray" when it landed on Susan. So we're gonna meet up with Susan at QB Connect, and we'll give her shirt in person. Speaking of QB Connect, we won't be doing our workshop next week because that is during QB Connect. So we'll be in Las Vegas talking all things QB Connect. So our next workshop will be a recap of what we experienced at QB Connect, and we'll look forward to seeing you then. Now, make sure that if you aren't already, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that we can so you can be alerted when the next workshop is. You can also sign up for the workshop alerts from email, and we also were going to talk a little bit about next week about this PCI compliance confusion that's been going around about maybe you got an email. So hopefully we'll reach out about, or we'll have some clarity about that. Maybe at QB Connect, we can pin somebody down. It's like, what the heck is that email all about? But we are gonna chat about that. So we will see you next time on the Workshop Wednesday, which won't be next Wednesday, but it'll be the weekend after that. Until then, have a great day.
Nicole's going to be at QuickBooks Connect. Come find us. We'll have some extra.
Nice.
So, yeah. So come find us.
Fantastic.
Yes. All right.
All right.
Sorry, I wanted to interrupt before you had us head out.
All right. Well, have a good one, and we'll see you next time on the Workshop Wednesday.
Have a great week.
Very good.